Hello gamers, today's video I'm not going to be talking about a game, well not in the traditional sense that I do. Today I want to do something everyone else seems to be doing these days, talking about the downfall of Ubisoft. And the reason I had the idea to jump into this conversation is because I just recently picked up Star Wars Outlaws when it released on Steam. So is it somehow even worse than I would have thought it to be? I don't know, but it also speaks a lot to the modern problems plaguing Ubisoft, which I feel can be summed up pretty well by their inability to adapt to current gaming trends. Like, you take a look at Ubisoft's most recent releases, starting 2024 off with The Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which is a difficult one for me to talk about as I haven't played it, but it at least seems okay. But then its all-time player peak on Steam is 1,446 players, which, yes, that is only Steam, and it's also a single player game, so you're not going to have a bunch of people in it at once. But I feel the Prince of Persia series should probably get more people playing it than that. But as I said, I haven't played the game, and everyone I talk to about it says that it's a pretty okay game. But the next game I don't think anyone likes, that being Skull and Bones. It's hard to not cover the downfall of Ubisoft and not mention Skull and Bones. The game is rumoured to have cost Ubisoft around $600 to $850 million, which is absolutely wild if true. It's hard to put into words just how much money that is. For example, Red Dead Redemption 2 had a budget of around 200 million. Hell, the market cap of Ubisoft is 1.6 billion. It is very risky to put that much money into one product, but it could be worth it if they even manage to break even. So let's do some quick maths and see if they did break even. If you do some Googling, a number of 850,000 players comes up. Now, this is seemingly including free trial players. And also that number was taken in February. So let's be, and this is something not a lot of people do, but let's be very, very nice to Ubisoft and say that the game has sold 1 million units since February. Or not since February, but including, let's just say the game has sold 1 million units in its lifetime so far. And let's say everyone who got the game paid the full price of 60 USD. So easy math, calculate that, blah, 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 $60 million. AKA nowhere near enough. But maybe, just maybe, a game could survive if the game adopts enough whales to keep it afloat. Obviously, whales mainly coming from mobile games, but being like the top 1% that invest over, I think it's 2/3 of the game's revenue comes from these whales. So for example, Raid Shadow Legends is held up by a very select few amount of whales just pumping money constantly into the game. And that's how the game can afford to sponsor YouTubers apparently all the time. So if there is enough whales in your game, it could still eventually make a profit. However, I feel Skull and Bones does not have enough to do in the game for the whales to stick around anyways. And the game, in a lot of aspects, does piracy worse than Assassin's Creed Black Flag. If you are like me and a massive enjoyer of anything pirate, one of the biggest weaknesses of Skull and Bones, apart from all its other weakest points, is the amount of time you have to spend off your ship walking around the game's hubs or ports, which is also a downside of Black Flag if you didn't want the pirate stuff. But I even think I enjoyed naval combat more in Black Flag than Skull and Bones. It's like Skull and Bones spent way too long in development hell to the point where if the game came out 2016, it most likely would have been fine. Even if you look at the worst numbers, and it was in development hell until 2018 and released around the same time as Sea of Thieves, it probably would have stolen some of the audience from that game. Although long term, I think there's more playability in Sea of Thieves, and I think we see that to this day, especially with the boring sort of sailing. Like Sea of Thieves manages to make it fun. Skull and Bones does not. There aren't even sea shanties the last time I played. Like, what the hell's the point? But yeah, it's like in 2024, who even wanted Skull and Bones? It probably would have been better for Ubisoft's dismantling public opinion to just take the almost $1 billion loss. But after losing all that money, I'm sure a lot of the higher ups at Ubisoft thought this next game would remake them all that money. That, of course, being X-Defiant, Ubisoft's answer to Call of Duty, Overwatch, CS, and all the other shooter games like that. But that's the problem. It's trying to do all these things that it does, none of them great. Like, you have abilities like in Overwatch, but you would die before being able to use them, as the game has a fast-paced, quick kill respawn driven combat like Call of Duty. And why would people not just go play those games and get better single experiences instead of getting an average experience in all of those aspects? Well, they wouldn't, as that's what happened, which has now ended with Ubisoft sunsetting the game. It's not going to become a cash cow for them like they would have hoped, and that makes me think of two very funny points. Ubisoft has Seed, in my mind, probably one of the better shooter games out there, with some very interesting gunplay and redheads without hitboxes, and it's still very popular. Why make a game that some aspects directly competes with another one of your franchises? And I also know Black Ops 6 wasn't out, but don't complete with COD. Come on, Ubisoft, you should have learned this, because B, this isn't the first time Ubisoft has combined a bunch of different games to make a popular game and launch it around the same time in order to go face to face with Call of Duty. Anyone out there remember Hyperscape? No? That's okay, because no one else does, but I played Hyperscape and I had fun. It was an interesting take on the Battle Royale genre, but once again doing nothing particularly impressive. But it did have good gunplay, which a lot of Battle Royales don't. But it was released around, I think, within a couple months of Warzone and Fortnite Chapter 2, and well, no one ended up playing it for more than 2 weeks. And the servers were shut down 2 years later, which I guess is 2 years longer than X-Defiant was able to stay up for. But anyways, time to move on to the final game, and the one that gave me the idea for this, Star Wars Outlaws. Now, I'm pretty sure I have talked about the stupid pricing of Outlaws somewhere before, but I can't find that. So if I didn't, I'll just say I'm pretty sure Ubisoft were trying to scam us with these pricings. Just like how they're trying to scam us with that NFT Rayman Origins games that they didn't tell anyone about. And also wouldn't be the first, second or third time that Ubisoft has scammed its users. Now, I got the game on sale, so I felt more okay after buying it. Not so much so after playing it, however. I will say I haven't completed the game and don't know if I will. Most definitely probably will not though. The game is boring, which is the worst thing a game can be. Like, bad games can be bad fun, but Outlaws is just bad boring. A combination almost as bad as MacArthur and Nukes. I don't want to only bash on the game, however, so let's quickly talk about two things I liked about Star Wars Outlaws. Well, I like Star Wars, which the game has Star Wars in it, and I also enjoy the worlds the game has made, like the seedy underworld city you first go to and like crawling around in the vents of an imp space station. I enjoyed that. That was kind of cool to see. I could go experience that in Jedi Survivor or Jedi Fallen Order. But it was interesting. So what do I dislike about the game? Well, so far, basically everything else. The AI is beyond stupid. Stealth in this game is basically a joke. The controls feel absolutely horrendous. And as I have said many times before, I absolutely hate, I despise, it should go in the garbage. There are not enough negative adjectives to properly emote how I feel about Ubisoft's current style of games. Open world collectathon pieces of trash. So we're just looking at Ubisoft's big projects from this year, we can see that they are in a situation that they probably would not like to be in at the moment. And that is the failure to adapt to changing climates of the gaming world. It's like Ubisoft just don't listen to what gamers are saying. It's just all about doing what will make them the most money. But it's gotten to the point where even casuals have had enough. And at this point, they're just not listening to their customers for so long that it's damaging their ability to make profit. They are releasing projects that would have made a killing, like maybe 5 years and 100% less NFTs earlier. But the real question is this the end of Ubisoft? And the answer is very simple, no. Now, this version of Ubisoft may fail, but if the rumors are true, Tencent will step in and buy more of Ubisoft than they already own. I think they roughly have 10% of shares at the moment. And if not, someone else will scoop in and buy out Ubisoft. Because Ubisoft's games may be absolutely trash at the moment, but that engine, well, it's also not anything special. Better than whatever the hell Bethesda are still using these days. And especially with engines like Unreal and Unity. However, something Ubisoft has over all their competitors is their just massive pile of incredible original IP. The only company that comes, in my mind, close to reaching the IP of Ubisoft is Bethesda. Like Ubisoft have Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Rayman, the Clancy trilogies, and I guess Rabbids. And most of these IPs they are either actively ruining or not even using. But they are worth a hell of a lot of money. And I'm sure there are some game studios that would buy most of Ubisoft in order to acquire some of their IP. But that's been enough from me. This video started off with me wanting to make a video on how much I have not been enjoying Star Wars Outlaws and turned into making a video on how bad Ubisoft is at the moment. Very relatable topics, so they relate back to each other. And I know it's not uncommon for people to shit on Ubisoft. But I also feel we should remember that it's not really the developer's fault. They, for the most part, just get told what to do. But anyways, they could still make better AI, so who knows? But this has indeed, by its definition, been a video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Now go get some water, have a drink, peace.